Hey everyone, today we are going to tackle exercise 24-2 of Murach's Visual Basic 2015, and we're only going up to step 21. So if you're not in my class and you need to do steps 22 and 23, you're on your own for that, but luckily the book gives you all the code, and we're going to lean pretty heavily on the code from the book, although it's pretty straightforward what we're doing, because I'm teaching this as, understand this concept, but really it's an introduction to the concept, and then we're moving on. There's a lot to learn about Visual Basic. So I have the start files for 24-2 opened up right now. We can look at the entity data model here. And we can see that we have customers and states, and that the state code is linked to the state code in the customer. We have the navigation properties, so that if we selected a customer and we needed to get the state from it, that navigation property set up. So this is already done for us. What we're going to do is some coding to make this application actually work, because when I run it right now, you've seen this before, right? That you put in the customer ID, click on Get Customer. If we want to, we can click on Add a new customer. Once we get a customer, we can modify that customer, we can delete them, or we can get out of here. So a lot of this is already done for us. We are going to write in the entity framework. All right, so skipping to step 3, add a class. And this class is going to be called MMA Books Entity. Make sure we spell this right. Yep, looks good. And we need to declare a public shared variable named MMA Books. And assign it an instance of the object context class to it, which is MMA Books Entities. And if you have the book and want to follow along, this is on page 795. It's the only code on 795. So public shared MMA Books as new MMA Books Entities. Great. Save that. That's all we need to do here. So now whenever we need to access the entity framework, we're going to be using that MMA Books variable to do so. All right, that was step 3. Oh, step 4 is save it and close it. I did that already. Step 5, display the code for the customer maintenance form. So again, click on the file in the Solution Explorer. You can click on the less than greater than to view code, or hit F7. I'll make this a little bit bigger. And we don't need these pinned. I'm just trying to give you some more room here so you can see what's going on. And we need to add an import statement so we can actually use that MMA Books variable that we just created. So I want to import customer maintenance dot and the class that I just created, MMA Books Entity, singular. This is, where is it? That's this class right here that we just created. Okay, save that. So now I have access to MMA Books. Now, that was step 5. Step 6, add a query to the Get Customer procedure that receives the data for the customer with the ID that's entered in the customer ID box. So let's start with, where is Get Customer? Here it is, Get Customer. Oh, and the starter files give you the comments. So just look for this step 6. So we need to retrieve the selected customer and store it in the module level variable, which is right here, selected customer. So selected customer, and here's where we go back to chapter 23. It's all kind of connected together. And we use link to query MMA Books. So I'm going to say from customer in MMA books dot customers, where customer ID equals customer ID. So in this case, this customer ID is referring to this one here. I want to select the customer, and then when I do this, I'm going to select one row from this. That's what that singular default is. Selecting one row, and I think that's it for, yep, that is it for this step. Step 7, so we've selected the customer, assuming that the customer is not nothing. We're here to this step, and we need to make sure that the states are loaded. So I'm going to say if not MMA books dot entry selected customer dot reference state has to be capitalized dot is loaded, then okay. So what we're doing is we're checking to see, because remember this in maybe I'll look at it this way. Customers hold state code, and what we want to show is the state name on the form. So what we're saying is if that reference is not loaded, then we want to load it. So you could retype all this, but really we're going to take this line, so everything between not and then, MMA books entry selected customer dot reference state is loaded, copy that, paste it inside here, and instead of calling is loaded, we're going to call load. If this is not loaded, then load it. All right, save this, F5, let's run it. Go to customer 9, get customer, and there you go. So you should have the customer information is filled in here, and the state is California, not CA, even though CA is what's saved in the database. So congratulations, you've done step 8. Step 9, add display the code for the add modify customer. Add a query to the load combo box procedure that retrieves the required data from the states table. I'm on step 10 and sorts it by name, then bound the combo box. Okay, so we're doing 2 things here, but before we do those things, because here we're going to be querying the states table and loading it up into a states variable, but we can't query the states table, because I can do dim states equals from state in MMA book, but see, notice like MMA books is not available to me. Okay, it keeps overriding into that because we didn't import it at the top of our class. So make sure we have that. Imports customer maintenance dot MMA books entity. Now I can say from state in MMA books dot states order by state dot state name select state. So this is our link query. We are querying the states table and we're ordering it by the state name. We're going to select the state, and I want to take this and we're going to put it in a list. And the reason we do that is because now I'm going to take my combo box and say the data source of the combo box is this list of states. All right, almost done. The only thing left to do is we need to say that the display member is the state name, and the value member is the state code. All right, so save this, F5 and run it. Pull up customer 9, hit get customer. There it is. Hit modify. Now the drop-down says California, automatically selected, and the drop-down list looks like this. The states sorted alphabetically. All right, that was step 11. Step 12, add code to the event handler for the click event of the accept button. So you can find it here. It's always easier, I think, to open up the form in designer mode, double click on the accept button, and it'll take you to the click event of the accept button. To me, it's a little easier to find that. And when I add a new customer to the customers collection of the object context and then update the database. Okay, this sounds complicated, but Entity Framework makes this really easy. We're going to do mmabooks.customers.add customer. So this takes the customer that just got created from this form and adds it to the customer's reference of the MMA Books entity. And then update the database, MMA Books dot save changes. So that actually writes it back to the database. Simple enough. That was step 12. That was step 12. Step 13 is run the application, add a customer. So yeah, we'll do that. We're going to need it anyway. So I'm going to hit add. I'm going to fill this in. Click accept. And now customer 701 is my information. If I hit exit and I run it again, there's my information. All right, we went through step 14, step 15. Add a statement to the, all right, we're doing here, update the database. And this step, I think, is even easier. Just want to make sure I'm giving you the right code here. Yep. MMA Books dot save changes. Because when we pull this customer, it's already part of the entity framework. And when we click modify, the code that we already had makes all the changes to the customer object. So all we have to do is write it back to the database. So I'm going to pull up customer 701, get customer, modify, 1234 Main Street, click accept. It looks like it's done. Let's exit out, run it again, get customer 701, 1234 Main Street. All right, so you're seeing how the entity framework makes it easy. We don't have to write any code or anything. We're just using objects themselves. All right, we got to come back to the customer maintenance form. We're going to work on deleting a customer. And we need to mark the row for deletion and then update the database. So MMA Books, and if we think this through, mark the row for deletion. Well, I know I'm using the MMA Books framework, entity framework, and I know I'm working in the customers table. So what do I want to do? I'm marking a row for deletion. Oh, look, there's a remove method. So let's use remove. And I can see here that I have this selected customer. So let's try to remove that selected customer. So that's going to remove it from the the entity framework. So it removes it from that. I guess you think of it like a local version of the data. And then we need to save changes again. 2 lines of code. That's all you need. So I'm going to save this, hit F5. Customer 701. It's me. Hit delete. Yep, delete it. Let's try that again. 701. No customer found. Hit exit. I'm going to run it one more time. 701. No customer found. And the reason I exit and I do it one more time is to reload the entire entity framework to make sure that it's not just, this one, to make sure I'm actually saving the changes to the database. So that was steps 19, 20, and 21. And that's it for my class. We are stopping at step 21. If you are continuing on with steps 22 and 23, you'll probably want to look through pages like 797 to 803 in your book. Otherwise, for my class, save this, test it one more time, zip it up, and submit it.